Welcome to Roseflower Radio, the show that goes behind the scenes of your favorite independent artists and creatives. I'm your co-host, Micah Wilson.
And I'm your co-host, Finlay Matthias. With us today, we had Buppy.
Buppy.
Woo, woo, woo.
I told Buppy this before, but it's funny because we've talked to so many people around Buppy, and he was kind of like, it was like the centrifuge. Is that a centrifuge?
I don't think that would be the right. Like, he's like the black hole that everything was was circling.
All that to say, it was super awesome. We got to talk to him about the industry, talk to him a lot about what it means to be an independent artist.
Yeah, about his success so young. You know, he's only 19. He's really been blowing up since he was 17.
It's crazy.
So really awesome to see his journey so far and talk to him about it.
Yeah, so stay tuned because it was a really fun thing, and he says a lot of good stuff to independent artists, so we hope you like it. If you are on YouTube, make sure to subscribe right down below. The button's somewhere over there. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to hit that follow button so you never miss another update. So, we hope you guys enjoy, and this is Buppy. So, Buppy.
What's up?
The infamous.
The infamous.
What you doing? How was your day?
Hanging out, man. It was good.
We heard about the salsa incident.
Yeah, drank some kombucha. Went to a farmer's market. Shit, I got salsa. I put the salsa on my car.
Salsa did not make it.
Tomatoes in the vehicle. I closed the vehicle. I didn't think about the salsa. I drove. The salsa fell off at some point, probably in like Altadena. So if you see any loose salsa in Altadena,
if you've seen salsa in Altadena,
yeah.
Let's talk about like you grew up in Utah, right?
Yeah.
So like, what was the story from you like being just a kid in Utah?
Yeah, we got your sister's version. Now let's get your version.
Yeah, she wasn't in Utah as long as me though, because she went to, I don't know if she spoke about it, but she went to Connecticut for a while. She was like in school in Connecticut during high school. I did most of my high school in Utah. But yeah, it was cool, man. I mean, there's not a lot of music or like really much going on. There's like skiing, and then we'd all like just go like during summer, you just go a hammock in the woods, and you'd like tell your homies' parents, you tell your mom you're sleeping at your homie's house, and then he'd tell his parents you're sleeping at his house, and like no one to talk. So then you just go to the woods and like hammock and like smoke weed.
That's awesome.
That's like all you did pretty much. And like occasionally you'd like steal a 6-pack from Walmart and like get caught and told never to come back, and like that was kind of it. Like really nothing.
You run out of Walmarts?
Yeah, how many Walmarts?
There's only one Walmart too. Yeah, you're fucked at the first time. You're done.
You get that first Walmart.
Yeah, no, but yeah, super chill town. Like, there's definitely a lot of the influence of like the party and like the understanding of like just like the teenage experience came from that, and I think it was very much so like one of those like it could be its own Outer Banks like vibe where it's like its own thing, and anyone from a ski town I think understands. But
well, I was gonna say, so you have a younger brother too.
I do, yeah.
I think we learned this from Eleanor. Who's like
wicked skier,
professional or something.
Yeah. He's in the things called the Flying Aces, which is like these dudes who do flips into like this like it's basically jumps into water.
Oh shit!
And it's like super hard to get on. Yeah, he's in that, and then he's going to like he's trying to aim for the JOs and then the Rio Olympics, and he's next up to be on this U.S. ski team. Hopefully,
how old is he?
So he's young. He's 15. Oh no, he just turned 16. Yeah.
Dang.
Or no, he's about to turn 16 in 10 days. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, because he just got like all his license stuff passed, and I think in 10 days he's actually picking it up. So
it's 3 siblings: you, Eleanor. And
no,
this guy?
4. I have an older brother too.
Okay,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, he's like he's like an actor. I think he just joined the union.
That's
but it's
crazy.
Tough times
so
like
you have
right
like
now.
an actor brother.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then Eleanor also like part-times in acting. I don't know if she talked about it, but yeah, she does a bunch of acting stuff.
Okay,
I
so
forget
when did music kind of come into all of this for you? Partying, hammocking,
stealing 6-packs.
It was just mid all that. Like I started making music because I was Twitch streaming. Like before Twitch was like cool at all. I was Twitch streaming, and
you did it before it was cool.
Well, I did it before they had like DMCA laws. Like they had no copyright laws.
That's
like you could just use anyone's song and anything you wanted, and life was fine. And then, I like one day I was using my regular like Son. I used to listen to a bunch of Son Holo, and I was like 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like do Minecraft live streaming. And one day, like my stream just I remember it just getting like basically like that moment they took it down because of like I was playing other people's music. And it was that day where I was like, I need to figure something out. So I just open GarageBand and I would just make like really terrible EDM, like 30-minute songs, and then I would just put them
Like
on my
loop them
streams.
in the
So
Yeah, literally.
So you like started your music career on the basis of for the Minecraft.
Yeah,
Twitch.
exactly.
That's so
yeah.
It can
awesome.
all
yeah.
be traced back to Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Twitch. Finished with Twitch like when I was, I don't know, 14. Stopped really doing the EDM thing. Like through there, I started listening to like Odd Future a lot. My brother was definitely like big inspo, you know, as big brothers are. Just like you'd listen to shit and you'd be like, oh, he's listening to that. I want to
Yeah.
listen
Oh,
to
my
that.
brother's doing that. Let me
Exactly.
hop
Yeah,
on,
exactly.
yeah.
So I listened to a bunch of Odd Future. Really want to be like a rapper. Found Lil Peep when I was like around that age.
Yeah.
Super big. Like X came out, big SoundCloud era, right when I was like 14. I think was that time. And yeah, it was just like this rocks. So I remember I spent like $600, built a studio in my room, like terrible stuff, and then I would just do Audacity and like GarageBand. I was kind of bounced between the two, and then I finally got Logic. I like cracked it, and
We all start with a crack. Line.
yeah, no, I would stay on that now. Honestly, I just got Logic through a random other kid who like gave me it for free. I will never buy it. I don't think I'll ever buy
That's
So
so
you're
funny.
anything.
still on
No
crack
way.
Logic right
I mean,
now?
basically, I like downloaded his license, but yeah, no, I don't buy that shit. I don't know.
That's awesome.
too much
Just
time.
use Logic for the most part.
Yeah, so now, I mean, I use Ableton too. I don't have it, but most people I work with, I'd say most producers in LA that I've met use Ableton in some capacity. And yeah, so then 14, 15, rap music just kind of took over. I dropped like a bunch of stuff on SoundCloud. My first song ever was on SoundCloud when I was 12.
Okay.
And it's still there. It's called 12.
Someone
it's
track it down.
it's a
Phenomenal
rap
name
it's a rap song. So I was still rapping then. Like I was always into rap.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
when I was 15, I came back I was in school in Northern California for 1 year. I
Yeah.
was supposed to go there for 4 and I hated it. So I came back to Utah and COVID happened like right there when I was 15, sophomore year, and I would just throw like ragers. Like this is
Awesome.
terrible, I guess,
Massive,
to
yeah.
anyone who like worries about COVID, but throw like fucking ragers. Utah, we didn't fucking care about this shit. And it wasn't a big thing. And like I was young and like it was like COVID schmovid, you know? So like I threw like 80-person ragers in like my little like I had my own little section in our apartment. We lived in like a 2-bath apartment with my mom, my little brother, and me. And I would like throw ragers in my apartment, and when I would track everybody, we'd like all freestyle, and I would track them all in the mic on
That's
Logic.
awesome.
So we'd like find a YouTube beat, like 40 kids would freestyle like 2 bars each, and I would just track it all and mix it all. And that's where I got really good at mixing, because I was doing like 40, 50 different voices a night and trying to make them all work
Damn.
while like trying to EQ out like 16 people screaming in the background.
Someone saying
Someone
something,
ripping
yeah.
bong like 2 fucking feet from the mic, like fuck it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where I got like I understood a lot about music then, and it was when I thought COVID was over, I was gonna stay in Utah, and it never really ended. So that's when I moved to LA. It was when I had turned 16. And yeah, it was like right after all that time.
Yeah,
So what
okay.
brought you out to LA? Like what enticed you about
Eleanor was already out here
Yeah,
for I think a year or two before I came out. So that was like a big part of it, seeing her and seeing what she was doing and being like, I want to do that. COVID, I didn't go to like school. I thought it was going to be online all year. That was kind of like the vibe of like the world.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I was like, why am I doing it here? You know, when like Eleanor's lease was going up and like I could be out there and I could join in. And yeah, and then, you know, I think it was also just that dream that everyone has, like go to LA, you know, make music and
Do the
you'll
whole
find
thing,
your
yeah.
way and
Yeah,
whatever.
Kind of
and,
figure it out when you get there.
and
kind
I
of
was,
thing.
yeah, and I really was doing well. I always did well in school, and I was really like on track to be, you know, one of the top people at that school. But I always was really bored and upset, and I was really depressed when I was in high school, and like I was doing well in things, but
You just weren't happy.
I just like go to school. I would fucking go work from like right after 4 to like 10 at this ice cream shop, and then I would like go home and just like make music for 2 hours and go to bed and do the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
In Utah, it's like, you know, fucking -5 degrees and cold and brutal. And yeah, so I mean, I came out here and first whole year I regretted it. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was like,
what specifically were you like? Were you homesick or?
well, no, it was just COVID. was when I moved out. There's no one here.
I did
like,
the same.
Nobody.
Yeah. Yep.
Like everyone who even lived here now or lived here then and lives here now left in those years.
And
that 2 years. Like, and the only good part was my rent was really cheap and gas was like $2.50 a gallon.
Yeah.
It was super crazy. But yeah, I got a job. Like, if you're under 18, you move to LA, you need a work permit to get a job. And I didn't go to school here, so it was really hard to get because your school issues it. So like finally got that. It took me months, and I got this job. And literally 3 weeks later, the place closed down because of COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, it was terrible.
What were you doing?
I was a restaurant like busser, like line worker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did most of my life, just bus tables.
Yeah.
And yeah, I earned terrible money, but because it was like pre-COVID rates. But
Before that safety.
I know before like everyone was like can't hire anyone for less than $30 an hour.
Yeah,
you know?
whatever.
But yeah, so that whole year was really tough. You know, I did make music, but I was also working like so much to afford rent in Hollywood and like just a bad like I just were kind of rushed decisions and so then I finally put out records like right during that COVID period when I had just got called off of my job. I put out Violence, I put out Open My Letter, and I put out Tell Me You're Sorry, and Open My Letter like did super well.
Yeah.
And that's where I had like a lot of meetings after that one. I did a lot of blog stuff and I did a lot of interviews and I like met 6 guys who were like, hey, I want to manage you, and like it was just a time in my life where I was like, whoa, like this is all.
What's happening?
It's like that first time it happens to you, like, dude, I'm good. Like, this is it. I'm set. Like, see you guys, you know?
Yeah, so like, would you
It's like-
say that was your first kind of taste of success?
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
Real, like
And-
being a musician
Yeah,
in LA, like
and if-
what you were hoping for.
If you do that and you have that moment, no matter how small, if you get like 20,000 views on a TikTok and someone reaches out to you, like wants to be on a call, get your demos, you're like, dude, it's like over. Life's good.
This
Holy
is it,
shit,
boys.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
about
like,
to
I'm
sign the
good, you know?
contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like such a fallacy because like
How
literally,
old were you at that time?
I just turned 17, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, how did it feel like to kind of feel that? Because I feel like a lot of people takes them a little bit longer than that. Were you sitting there
Well,
like,
I was making music since I was like, I had Buppy when I was 14. It was out when I was 14. I made Buppy. You know, I was on SoundCloud till I was 14. I dropped I dropped 24 songs as Buppy that no one knows about. I took them all down.
Yeah.
Before I came out to LA, you know, and that's when I took everything down because I was like, I moved out here, I want a fresh start, whatever. But for me, it was like damn time, you know. So it's like I had 200 listeners for like 3 years.
Yeah.
You
You're
know?
like, come on,
Clowned
come on.
all through high school. Like no one listened to my shit. It was just like, you know, and it was like super annoying because yeah, I got to the point where I was like, moved out here, something's bound to happen, you know, and it sucked too because nothing was sticking on like Open My Letter didn't stick on TikTok, you know, and this is right as 347 Aiden's blowing up and like TikTok's like everyone's like oh
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and nothing was sticking and like I just felt like I was doing nothing. And like finally that song blew up like on its own, you know, and gained virality on its own. And like that was super good moment. And yeah, that was like the start of me believing in it and pushing harder. And I recorded a lot of records after that.
Yeah. When did people like Grant and Dumb Days and all of those guys kind of start?
So Grant is a
fading
weird
in?
story. Dxcklin, because he was always in my life. We met when I was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And he was actually my photographer. Like he used to video my like
Damn.
rap, my 12-year-old rap stuff.
He was
Yeah.
there in the corner. You were mixing everyone, and he was there with the
Yeah,
camera.
he was there.
He was hitting the bong in the
but we'd
corner.
also do like
The guy hitting the bong.
the odd music video, you know,
Yeah,
like
totally.
we'd run around Salt Lake and like film some stupid, you know, things that'll never come out. But I actually got him into music in a way because he's always good at guitar, but he's a dancer. He finally like came over one day when I was in 7th grade or something. We made a song, but so like he was always in the picture. We moved to LA together. He came because he was going to Cal Arts, but they went online.
Yeah.
Similar story. We were both working at the same restaurant. Like he came out with me. We lived in the same room that year. And then like the Dumb Days and everyone else and like that whole picture and playing shows and like, you know, it was
Like
right
make
after
out
Open My
music,
Letter. I
all
got a
that.
manager. And I took it really slow with him. Like we didn't really like talk at all for like, we talked like once a month and it wasn't really even management at that point. Like I didn't know if I wanted a manager. And rather I didn't really know who I wanted to manage me. So I was talking to a lot of people at that time. And so, yeah, like it was probably Like Cold Nights in Hollywood happened in December. I teased that song throughout like the Violence of My Letter 2021 time. And right in December that year, I'd gone home for Christmas and I was like pretty much just sitting in a house and I was just doing like hella Cold Nights in Hollywood TikToks because nothing had stuck for me previously. And finally, like I did that, and that was going and going and going and going. And he's getting a bunch of views over December.
Yeah, I think this is where you started coming up on my page.
Yeah, and December's like famously a time too where like the whole industry is like sitting at home. So like that's where these people are sitting on their phones and like looking for, looking for something and not just like looking at the data. They're also looking at a screen, like seeing who's popping up. And it just came in at the right time. And that was like really the moment where I met like a lot of people off that record.
So I wanted to talk about Cold Nights in Hollywood because it was something that I'm assuming it started something as a single, and then it went to an EP, and then now it's like
it's a whole concept.
There's a page.
It's a weird evolution because I actually had it as a clothing brand before I made the song.
Oh, so the song was named after
kind of, but the song never actually says Cold Nights in Hollywood. It says Hollywood is still cold. It was like this just period of time where I was like, Hollywood sucks. Like this sucks. Why am I here?
Yeah.
And I made the clothing brand because I wanted to do clothing. And like, I always knew that. And then Hollywood is Still Cold was written at the same time. I called it Cold Nights in Hollywood because that's what the clothing thing was. And then like the EP was just like, I mean, if you have a song go and you're in my position where I was like, really had no big records, like you name your EP, whatever that song was. So, it's all functional. And so, that's really how it all came together. It is a weird thing. It feels like it should be like song, then EP, then clothing.
That's what I assumed it was.
But no, it's grown definitely into like the brand that I've gone.
Where do you hope to go with it?
Clothing, events, like we've thrown, I think 3 shows that are like a cold night in Hollywood, and those are really cool.
I thought it was like at first, I thought it was like a crazy marketing scheme where you were like, hey, by the way, this whole brand is named after this one song, you should go listen to it. Or named after this EP, you should go listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. It's like, all falls into the same thing of having a tagline and having a thing. And I hope one day to like have a storefront in Hollywood. I think that would be like the ideal, and just kind of have it as its own clothing thing.
Standalone,
And during COVID and stuff, I would go to like these, like after COVID, before I got hired anywhere again because I was like jobless, I would go and sell clothes at pop-ups and stuff under a Cold Night in Hollywood. But no one knew who I was musically. It's just clothing brand.
You were just some clothing.
And that was the reason why I named it its own thing and made it its own thing. So
that's super
tight. It's like the Cold Nights in Hollywood thing. It's definitely something I'm continuing to evolve and push on, and it's hopefully everything falls under that rap.
Yeah, and then what's the deal with this shit before or after Cold Nights? I'm kind of
it was
now.
Cold Nights. What's the deal with this shit was the second lead single to that project.
Okay.
I think the third was Down and Low, and then the other 3 that were on the project were Another Day, Man in the Stars, and Drugs and Love.
Yeah. So where did What's the Deal with this shit
that was made
like
right as I got back from Christmas break with Grant.
Okay.
And then that started doing really well on TikTok. Right, so I had Cold Nights. I'm like, oh, where do I go? And then I just teased that and I went with it. And
how'd you connect with Shy High?
That's where I was.
Yeah. So I had interviewed him actually because I write like in my free time. I write for this blog called A1234. Recently, I've been super busy, so I haven't been writing for them much. But I was doing interviews for them. And I'd interviewed Shy for that blog, and I really liked his music. Done the interview, like 3 weeks after the interview, I was just like, this song is like really up his lane, like this sounds like something he could be on. And it was only like a minute, I don't know, 50 when I had it without his verse. So I just like reached out to him, and he was down. He like did it in literally, I want to say 30 minutes. He sent it back to me.
That's crazy.
It's done in like 30 minutes, and I was like, wow. So
and that was virtual. You guys weren't like
virtual. And then randomly, Dumb Days like threw a show that he was on the exact week I was planning to film this video. So he's in LA, and so he did it in 3 hours.
That's awesome.
It all came together.
Yeah, were you expecting that response that you got from it? Because it was
on TikTok, it was doing really well. So I was expecting
really
that. I mean, honestly, I was like definitely blown away, but it's one of those songs for me where I heard it and made it, and I was like, this is definitely a catchy, like,
that
good
People will
record.
like
just
it.
from
Yeah.
that opening bass line.
A lot of
it's
people
like-
were upset though because Cold Nights in Hollywood is like this emo rap kind of pow fooey vibe,
Yeah.
and like I completely did not go that way. You know?
Yeah, it's a very
So from like a
different
label
track.
perspective, everyone was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Even though it was
What's the
doing
deal
well,
with this
pre-saves for counting. It's like the idea is you get a good record, you build an EP off that record, and you move forward from there. You
Yeah,
know?
totally.
And I was just like, completely did not fucking do that.
Yeah.
Like I had like 6 different records in one project.
I think there's something to be said for both you and your sister as well. You both kind of just make what you want. in
Yeah,
that regard.
yeah.
She's kind of done the same thing, gone from the hyper pop to the more just pop,
Yeah, I
the
think-
acoustic stuff. Like,
I think a lot of it is figuring it out too. Like I don't think I have everything figured out right now. Like I think I make stuff and I'm like, oh, that sounds great. And I look back on some of the stuff I made and I'm like, damn, I probably shouldn't have dropped that one like then because I didn't follow it up with anything similar. You know? And I think I'll continue to learn with that. But yeah, I mean, I have increasingly learned that I prefer EPs with a general focus of genre and sound,
Okay.
and that's where this next EP is like things are dialed. The last 3 songs have been, in my opinion, pretty similar. I think Park City's kind of left field, but Miranda and Comfort, Texas to me are very similar, like sonically, both pop.
I wanted to talk about some of those newer songs too,
Yeah.
because the album covers that you're doing for
Yeah,
those
yeah,
are
the-
sick.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like just the headshots and
I've
stuff.
shot most of them.
So yeah, where did that idea come from?
Yeah, well, Hot Bee was Greta's face, my girlfriend. Because she wrote on the song and her voice is on the song, and it came out, and we literally teased record does 1.2 million views. Next day, we're like, finding who wants to put it out, find out where it's going, how it's going. And Christmas is a tough time to drop records because everyone's leaving. So like the people who ingest records leave.
yeah.
So you cannot drop between certain weeks.
Yeah.
It's like how banks are closed, And so like basically I was rushing to get this record in, and that's why we shot the cover art like in our living room, like right after that video hit 1 million views.
I mean,
So,
so
like,
it was more like an improv thing
exactly. I was
than
like,
a thought
Greta,
out-
get in the living
Let's
room.
go.
Like, here's these
Get the
here's these
goggles.
glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, like throw them on. Let's shoot it. We shot on the white wall. And after that record, I was like kind of thinking about what I want to do going forward. I'd always drawn cover arts before, which are cool, but they take a while. And I think I just succeeded that, like I did an EP with all drawn cover arts. I went from ground to there, and I was like, all right, let me do some like photo stuff, easier, whatever. And so, yeah, I did Greta's. Then I was like, I already knew that I wanted to do names and places. I knew I wanted to have all faces on the cover arts. It's a part of this thing where next EP, I don't know the exact name, but I'm hoping to do like shapes and colors or,
Oh, that's cool.
just like a 3 set of these sort of
Like thematic,
tangible,
yeah.
things.
Okay.
And, just have different types of cover arts. But the faces, yeah. So the second one is the girl in the Miranda video. Her name is Maya.
That's not Miranda.
No, it's not Miranda.
Damn.
I know, controversial, right? Super awesome person though, and shot that. I didn't shoot that actually. It was Alex's girlfriend, Dumb Days'
Yeah.
girlfriend shot that, and then Park City is my little brother. That cover art is shot in
Shout
my
out.
childhood home.
That's so sick.
Yeah, and
is
he's-
that real blood?
He's a trooper. No, it's fake blood, but it tastes and smells and feels really terrible. It's supposed to only like go in your mouth, which still tastes bad, but it isn't face blood, And like
So you got that and be like, yo, we're gonna make you.
yeah, I like
bloody.
did that, and then I just shoved dirt all over his face. Like I went out in the yard and I picked up a
good
bunch
brother.
of
Poor
dirt,
guy, yeah.
and I shoved it all over his face because he was like, he looked too good to be like scruffed up. He's supposed to get, in the
Yeah.
video, which we haven't put out yet, he's like, he gets bullied and hit a few times in the video and stuff. So like, the whole point was to get this like, I was like, you got to be screwed up. So
That's so
he was a
funny.
trooper.
He's
and then,
cool with that, though.
Yeah, he did it. He did
Shout
it. He
out.
is a
For
he is a
real.
goddamn trooper that
My
whole
brother's
video.
not doing that for me.
Yeah,
I'll
no.
tell you that.
No, he was a trooper that whole video, and yeah, it was really cool to have him in the cover art because like, song's my home name. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows that we're related back there. It's like 10,000 people in the town, So
Wow.
it's cool.
Yeah.
It was
Little
cool to
town.
have him on it. And then the most recent one, that one, I shot myself and just a friend. So
That's super sick.
yeah, they're coming. The next one I'm sure I'll probably shoot a random friend of mine to again, and
Yeah.
I think that the EP will be just 9 different faces.
Yeah.
I also kind of wanted to ask too, what is the story of Miranda?
Miranda, it's I mean, me and Grant were kind of making this record, but I mean, in general, it's less about the girl and more about the theme. Like, I've actually never been with a Miranda.
Yeah.
But the theme of like a family missing you, like their family, like the girl's, mom or whatever, sister, like, love you, and like the girl's like, yo, fuck you, like, we're over
Get
it.
out
But
my
like
life.
the mom and sister are like, yo, we want you back. Like, she's dating some stupid ass dudes. Like, I've had that so many times. Like, where like the girl's like, fuck this guy, and the parents are just like, they see me in like fucking, the equivalent of Ralph's, and they're just like, yo, like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I wish you came around more.
It's all fake.
I'm like, I can't come around. She does not want me around.
hates me, dude.
She made that very clear. Yeah, so that was like, I mean, that's kind of the story of the song.
So
know?
Miranda
Like,
is more so like the thematic.
yeah. And I mean, that's kind of a lot of the records are like, certain names. Like I have a song. It's named Greta. I have songs that are named after people in my life for sure, and they're on this EP. But same thing with the comfort thing. I mean, I did know and meet somebody in Texas, but a lot of that is like thematic. A lot of it is just kind of emotion, and the names and places thing for me is tying everything into like a place or a name felt more collective than 6 records.
Totally.
That are named differently. Because as I said, I make a lot of different types of music. So it's hard to be like, usually people make EPs in the same key and BPM,
Yeah.
6 songs, same key, BPM, and it all sounds very similar. And like, I don't do that. So I wanted the names and the
So
cover arts
instead
and
of
everything
having
Subway.
go together so people feel like it's
that
together,
makes a lot.
you know?
Yeah. Instead of having like sonic like similarities,
Yeah.
you're using like over.
Which
and-
I do feel this one has more sonic togetherness
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
previous. And a
So
lot
when
of those
you're
new
making your
records.
projects, you're thinking about every song individually before you even are writing them. You're kind of thematically
With this EP for
thinking
sure,
about it?
because
Yeah.
I was like, I had already dropped an EP, I'd already done the like 13 singles straight, get my name on the board,
Totally.
like,
It was time.
yeah, like there's a time period where you're dropping singles and waiting till someone notices you, and
Yeah.
I'd done that, and then I dropped an EP that was kind of like a bunch of things that were doing well into a project, and now that was the time for me to like, all right, here's the first in the lineage of projects that aren't just for like industry dudes in LA. Like
Totally.
this
Yeah,
is for
this is
hopefully
actually,
everyone.
yeah.
This is, for a larger audience.
Which is how it's been going. Like they've been doing really well, and I'm
Yeah.
stoked on it. And yeah, I'm really excited about this EP. I'm really excited about the records I've been making while I've been making like putting out this EP. Excited to see where they go.
So what's really cool about the internet, as we all know, is the fact that like as we're recording this right now, someone could go back like, let's say like 3 years from now and go back and be like, oh, like I wonder what Buppy did here, and like
and
go
find
to
it.
this. If you could talk to those people who are like coming back in time to try and like before this album or the EP is released, like what do you hope that they get from it, or what do you think that they heard or hearing?
Yeah, I mean, I think Comfort, which is out now, is like easily one of the best records I've made. And I worked with Neek and Nathan Main, who Neek is like half of Go by Kid Leroy and Juice WRLD, like super fucking talented
Super
guy.
awesome.
Blown away that he was even willing to take the session, and like just so thankful for like that opportunity. So like, I hope they take some focus to that song. And then, for the other things, I hope they just, really hone in on the lyrics and like the songwriting, because I think I really, really doubled over on that. And a record like people are kind of missing is this Park City one that I produced, which is the first record I've put out that I produced, 90% of. So I hope that record gets hit more, and I hope people hear it more, because there's a lot of themes and lyrics in that I really feel strongly about.
Awesome. Talking about also like production wise, who was what's his Boya? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Cole.
Where'd you meet him? How was
I
that?
met him, so he was my sister's like main producer and engineer
Cool.
before I moved out. So it was very like, oh hey, can I just work with your people? Like,
That's cool.
I have nobody.
Yeah.
Let me just
And I'd done
slide
everything in my
here.
room. Like my whole first album that's not out anymore was called Bedroom Tapes, because I literally did everything. Like
That's
I mixed
awesome.
it all, produced 90% of it. Like, just why it wasn't good. And And
You
yeah,
treat that first one like
Cole's
your
super
salsa, bro.
talented. Like I work with so many people, probably 30 producers on my catalog right now, at least. And Cole is the only common factor on every record -3.
That's what I was gonna say. I've
touched
noticed that. I
every
was like trying
single
to see.
song -3. Yeah,
It's crazy.
even
And
if he's not listed as a producer on most of them, he mixed it or he like was big part of the consult. Of
how'd
the
you meet
record.
him?
Yeah, through Eleanor.
Or through Eleanor?
And then we did a set. He was the guy who fully produced Violence, fully produced Open My Letter, fully produced Tell Me You're Sorry.
Oh, nice.
Fully produced pretty much everything in 2021.
Yeah.
And then half produced Cold Nights in Hollywood, half produced a lot of that EP.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
What about his style makes you keep going back to him? You get along as people? Is there something
He
in
works
his-
at he works for this like binaural audio startup, which like binaural audio in short is just like Dolby Atmos kind of same vibe. It's like that technology is what powers, and so like people who understand binaural space is like sounds super sciencey and stupid, but they like just understand how to shape a voice around your
And
ears,
sound,
you know,
yeah.
They just
and
got
not only
that.
voice but the prod and everything else. And I met a lot of people who are great at mixing, but they're great at mixing vocals, or they're great at mixing the prod, or they're great at mixing these 5 things, but for him, it's like he's really just dialed on the mix front. And I mean, that's why he touches everything. Is because like at a certain point, I'm like, this record won't come back worse by going to him, you know?
Yeah, it'll be.
And we work on such a consistent basis that like we've just, made this relationship where he understands the shit I'm putting out. you
Super
know?
cool.
Yeah, he sees your vision, you see his
Yeah,
vision.
and he's just a good
yeah.
dude, and like having him around. He's definitely like the common, like some of these producers I don't talk to again for a year,
Yeah.
But I talk to him every week, so.
It's hard because I feel like that they're with the industry that we're in now. You get a lot of people who are like doing the whole self-produced thing, where like,
Yeah.
oh, I have to have all my music, like I have to do every
master
single detail,
produced,
every
yeah.
single little thing. Like, was it hard for you, like giving that up, or like
Literally not at all.
Yeah.
And I would tell literally anybody who's like big on self mix, self produce, self master, self everything. It's like I know there are people. Sebastian Paul is one of them. Amazing artist, does everything. It's like
Phenomenal,
films
yeah.
his videos, it directs them.
Crazy.
Like, great dude. He's killed it. However, look at the output, like one EP, killer EP, one EP, nothing else in years. It's been literally 3 years.
Damn.
So it's like you look at the output of those self artists, and it's really hard to continue doing that yourself. So that was the first thing for me, is like consistency matters a lot.
Yeah.
It also matters to put out things you're proud of. And if you honestly believe, and some people are right, they're really good at the self everything. If you are the only person who can get your sound that far, you just need to keep searching until you do find somebody. Because you're like, I probably did like 20 different engineers and 30 mastering engineers before I found people I like, and wasted a lot of money. But it's like, once you do, the chain becomes much more like sustainable, I feel like, because it's like, go produce a song. Don't worry about where you get to in that session. Like those things are going to get bounced out. Those things are going to get mixed. Just worry about the production. Then when you're on the mixing step, take it to this guy. This guy's going to worry about it. This guy's going to figure it out.
Absolutely.
He's got less on his plate. He's not worrying about the production. Like, done, mixed, done. Then I send to this mastering guy. Mastering guy is going to do his thing. He's focusing on the master, And it's nice to have that delineation between
the
jobs,
separation,
Yeah, it's
totally.
the same kind of vibe as when we're doing bigger shoots now. And now, like, a year or 2 years ago, I was storyboarding, shooting, editing, directing.
It's just
doing all
impossible.
that. Now we have editor. I have people doing the camera for me. It's it's very
No,
much like I can
it's-
focus on my one thing.
But you have to find
and
the right
not-
people to operate, or it looks like
Facts.
shit,
Yeah.
or it doesn't work out the
Yeah.
way you want it, and it sucks. That's the worst feelings when you pay this dude, you do the whole thing, and then it's like, dude, what'd you do?
Come
Like,
on.
why'd you do
there's been
that?
a couple,
I just handed you my baby, bro.
I
You
know,
just
it's
dropped
like,
it. What the
shot all
hell?
over
Threw it
it.
off the balcony.
And
facts.
and so I mean, I have a lot of friends who stick and have stuck to the self everything thing, and I do think it's hindering a lot of them.
Interesting.
A lot of
It's
them.
just funny because you hear like everyone's such a big advocate now for doing everything yourself.
Self-produced, I think, is a huge.
It's
I think
awesome.
they're kind of separate conversations. Like self-mixed, self-mastered is different from self-produced to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to work on being self-produced, not fully, but able to be. And I
Yeah.
think
need
Dxcklin is a
be, yeah.
perfect example of like he's incredible at self-produced his own music. I think he makes better music by himself than with anyone I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That he's worked with. However, I don't think he should go and mix everything. I don't think he should master everything, because I personally believe you should not mix the music you produce. I think you're just not seeing it from the lens that you should be.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
helps to get that second
Yeah,
set of
especially
eyes,
the
second
master.
set of
Like
ears
I especially when you don't even have analog gear and you're just going through like Ozone or like
got that Waves L2 baby.
yeah, just like plugins or like digital stuff like Lander. Like I think you're just doing yourself the biggest disservice instead of throwing like my mastering engineer is only like like easy money. It's not even crazy money, the mastering end of it, and he's all analog. Like running it through. And I know mastering's not like the hardest thing in the world, but it sounds better when it gets back to me. It sounds dialed. It doesn't sound like a robot did it, and like a robot didn't do it. So I don't know. I think self-produce. Yes, I think everyone should try to produce as much as they can. I think it makes your life easier logistically. I think it like makes the songs feel more like you.
Authentic, yeah.
Like you're going to make more stuff that you enjoy by doing that.
Totally.
And there's just less, when you're able to self-produce, there's just less barriers to you. It's not like, I'm feeling inspired, let me call my boy
Let me
and
call
get a
someone else.
studio.
Let me get a
It's
beat
like,
from
I'm feeling
YouTube. Let me
inspired.
Download YouTube
remake this
MP3.
whole YouTube beat after because I can't use this YouTube beat.
Yeah, there's just less barriers to being creative when you're able to just
the
do
mixing,
it
the mixing and mastering self, I think, is my issue.
Plus, you're also helping out some homies. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
and it makes the industry go around. Like people need the money.
Absolutely.
and you're
mix and
building the
mastering.
team as well. You
Same
never
people
know
produce,
when
mix
those
and master
people-
for other people too.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not like you're not getting a producer's ear. You are. It's just they're not the guy who did everything else and spent
Absolutely.
35 hours on the record.
Yeah,
already,
they're coming in and they're able to see it
it's
for
hard.
what it is.
It's hard to like
Yeah.
sit on a record for 50 hours and mix it.
And that's what I'm saying is I think that because of that too, that's how a lot of shit stays on hard drives. Because you just like you've listened to it, you're like, because you're in producer mode, you're in mixing mode, you're in mastering mode all at the same time.
You're in artist
So you're
mode,
trying to
too.
be like, oh, that song's almost done. I just gotta tweak that snare a little bit and then do this. But then maybe redo
Change the
this
hi-hat
vocal.
sample.
No, I have a lot of versions of songs. Like I think probably my most versions, like 25 versions of the same song.
Damn.
Which sounds like a lot, but dude, like there's some self-mixed, self-produced people who like straight up have 150 versions of their song.
It's ridiculous.
And they've tweaked like arrangement, sections, instrument, mix, whatever. And it's like at a certain point, you have no idea the basis of which you were trying, what you were
was the
trying
start?
to conceive.
Yeah.
You have no idea. And whether
Totally.
it ends up great, it might end up great. I don't know. But I can't spend 6 months on one song.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone in this climate of music can. Maybe 10 years ago. But
I don't think they should either.
Right now, you cannot. You
Yeah.
have to put out a lot of music fast, and you need to tease a lot of music. And if that song you took 6 months on doesn't do well, like
Yeah, I've seen people. I actually saw quite recently, about a year and a half ago, this dude came up on my page. Awesome track, but it had a sample in the back that he probably, I don't think he was going to ever be able to get clear. Then, like, a couple weeks ago, I saw him posting, same song. He was like, I finally got the sample clear, like, it's out. And before, the original video had, like, 1.2,
and all the
1.3
hype's
million.
gone, yeah.
This video I saw had 200 likes, and the top comment was, bro, you waited too long.
It's so hard too, because I've been in that. I've read the same comments on my own posts.
It's hard, dude.
It's a terrible, hard thing that we've put ourselves into because it's like you have to tease a song, have it blow up, immediately go back and distribute it.
Yeah,
but you
already
also
have it
can't put
ready,
all
basically.
you can't get cover arts for every song because then if the song doesn't do well on TikTok, you got to go to the next.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so hard to choose. Hey, these 6 songs are on an EP. This is what I'm doing in Q1.
Yeah.
So it's like if you choose 6 songs and none of them do well on TikTok, like good job, buddy. You have an EP that didn't do anything in this day and age. Until you have that basis of fans, and that comes from like just balancing the game that I just explained so well.
Yeah.
You have to be able to tease things, get them out fast, do the cover arts, everything. That's why DIY has become so popular. It's because it's like that's the only way you can
You
get
don't
a
have
cover art
time to
video,
hire a
everything done in
photographer,
3 days.
do all that.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like pick up the camera and shoot it yourself. Like that's the only way.
And it's funny how much TikTok has. I know that this is like every podcast ever, but like
I know,
changed
right?
the industry
That's where we are.
in that regard. But it's just
has.
crazy. It's like the analogy that I heard from it, which I think is so true, is like it's the same sort of thing where like, and this is with Spotify too, where it's like if Whole Foods today decided like, hey guys, for $100 a month, you get free food. You know what I mean? Like you just walk in and take food. Like the whole like I'm talking. This is like more towards like the
We're doing
Spotify shit.
Everything for
But, like,
subscription based.
Yeah, it's like as soon as subscription, like that would ruin all food,
Yeah,
bro.
that'd
Everyone
be-
would just go to Whole Foods.
We'd all be
Costco would
fat.
be dead. You know, it's
Yeah, we
like.
would all be dead. Yeah.
And, but going into that, it's like so now that you can listen to any song whenever you want,
Yeah, I know.
and then now on TikTok you can be offered any song whenever you want, but you also have to advertise as if you're not you're
You're
truly
not actually,
authentic,
You're not advertising.
but you're not a
yeah.
TikTok artist.
really
but
tough,
you're,
yeah.
It's just
Yeah, we had a really great conversation about this. For us, yesterday. For you guys, like a month ago, with Rain Stern yesterday, who, was talking about all of this
Authenticity
stuff,
in
about
music.
how you have to be authentic while also advertising.
Yeah, it's
but
impossible.
also, if someone knows you're advertising, then they're gonna
every
skip. So
every single person in music like is just constantly having this conversation with everyone.
I
you
know.
It's like the way it is. So
It's
I don't
because
know.
we have to play the game, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
on the topic of like working with other people too, I know that there was. Is it Boom Records?
Yeah, that's the people putting out this EP.
Okay.
So
And-
they're
and
your
Hoppy.
distributors and like.
Yeah, they're an independent label that signed Hoppy and this EP that I'm putting out.
Okay, cool. So how'd
they're
you
cool.
meet them, or how'd that work out?
That's all through a company called Indify. Shout out Indify.
Let's go.
They're based out of New York. And a guy named Jordan Weller is a guy kind of found me having my moment on TikTok.
Yeah.
One of those calls I spoke about, but this one
Yeah.
actually amounted to something.
Hey.
And yeah, he's a good dude, a good team. I liked the Boom guys, small, insular, and definitely focused on what I was doing. And they just have, exactly what I wanted at that moment. And they had the terms that I wanted, and
it worked.
that's where that went.
A lot of people I know who engage in our stuff, they're all independent artists.
Yeah.
On the brink of like, some of them have been like, yo, we've had times
Yeah.
where we've gotten close to like signing with something or whatever. Like, in your experience, what do you feel about like signing to a specific company or like record
Yeah,
label,
what would you
those
say
sort
to
of
those
things?
people?
I think like the whole idea of being like anti-label or like pro-label is like the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
True.
Because like if you look at any famous independent artist, they've all been signed at one point. Like
Yeah.
every single one has signed some sort of deal.
'Cause someone wants
What I
money
just talked
somewhere.
about
Yeah,
was an
yeah.
independent deal.
Yeah.
Like that is a deal that most people do not even recognize ever existed in an artist's career.
Yeah.
When they get to a Russ point or a
Frank
Felly
Ocean,
point.
yeah.
Like a Billie Eilish point. Billie Eilish with Darkroom before
Yeah.
she was with anyone else. Nobody talks about that. Darkroom's an independent label. And, it's like, so those deals just kind of go under the radar. It's like the major ones that everyone talks about. And I am a strong proponent of like definitely not running into a major deal before you have your head on straight and a really solid plan and like really solid team around you. But honestly, I don't think like, at least in my experience, I've been reached out to by a few majors. All of them have kind of held their tongue till the moment is right. All of them and me still talk, but no one was like, "Hey, here's
You
a
should
terrible
sign this."
deal."
Yeah.
I've been offered terrible deals. All of them by independent labels for the most part.
Interesting.
Not by majors yet. Have I received like a terrible deal? But yeah, I think anyone who's like, "Oh yeah, label's the only way," or "Oh yeah, labels suck,"
Yeah.
is like these people are never gonna get anywhere because it's
Yeah.
like
It's not as
labels
black
don't
and white
suck.
as
They
that.
aren't the worst thing on the earth. A lot of them are fine. The whole thing operates kind of like a bank, and like if you play it right and it's what you need at that time, then great. If you have a silent investor who's like down to throw money their way, like great. I'm somebody who's been like grinding out here since day one. I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of the music artists still work day jobs. I know a bunch of them,
totally.
and there's a lot of artists who don't want to work day jobs. And the easiest way to do that is go get a, deal from somebody that's
Yeah.
willing to cover your expenses from that time, So, yeah, I mean, I think if anyone's like on the brink of signing a deal, you just kind of make sure it's the right deal. The independent thing, like I am still fully an independent artist. I signed to an independent label on it's not a catalog deal, right? We're talking about
It's a single
one
release,
project, And that's where I sit is like I prioritize the one by one things, and some people prioritize multiple albums, whatever it is. I have a bunch of friends in different situations. All of them ended up fine,
Yeah.
because
You hear the stories about like how, but like
People
most
get
of the time, 95%
it's
of
a
the time,
dying story.
it's because of the label.
It's a dying
because of the-
story
yeah.
because this TikTok thing brought in shorter deals,
Yeah.
shorter attention spans. more shit coming through the register, more money, more cash flow. They're willing to throw you some money and lose the money and cut your deal early.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the way that music's become. So I think the whole idea, I mean, it's not nobody. You can still get a terrible deal. Look, hire a lawyer. But like,
Yeah.
but like, I think it's,
people are just more educated on what
there's this thing when I grow up, every movie would be like, oh, I signed this deal. Like, oh, I'm stuck here for 16 years.
Yeah.
I'm $5,000.
Everything sucks, you know?
That
Yeah.
power, I think the labels just don't have that power anymore because people are more educated on those deals.
Yeah, exactly.
And
There's been a lot more education.
And they're not the only option.
However, they're
anymore.
signing younger, which is
true.
scary. It's every year it gets younger and younger, dude. Like, I think Prentice was like 14 or 15 when he
Stupid, dude.
signed his first deal.
That's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah.
How do you make a decision
it all has
like
to go
that?
through a trust too. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy on that side. It's boring, but
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't do that before I
Sure.
I
Do you
turned.
have any plans in the future? Or you just kind of like
Yeah, I've just been talking with a lot of people, and to everyone I've been talking to, if you see this, thank you. But cool people for sure. Like, I really don't. By this point, I'm not prioritizing company. I'm prioritizing like, how long are these human beings around?
Gonna stay,
And how much
yeah.
do people care? And you can tell. Like, I've had people who I first chatted with, and they were super hype, and they took me to the office 6 months ago. And during these luller moments where I'm not popping on TikTok every day, like,
Phone's not ringing.
but then I still have
Yeah.
people who were back then, like, super still into it,
Totally.
So you just find the right people. And I think that's how most people sign a major deal. It's like over time and time and time and time and time, these people are still here, and you have your huge moment, and that's where they jump in. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, here you go.
Yeah, like they're building those relationships over
Which is
however
good,
long.
because then you come in with leverage, and you come in with, like, you really did get yourself the position to take a good deal,
Yeah. And that's what's funny too, is I think that the industry now knows, like, it's so much more important to, instead of like, hey, you instead of seeing some other person with dollar signs, you know, like, if you treat them like a human being to start, that's just how like things become. And because also you being with all your homies too, and like you kind of have like a tight group around you, which are like, this is your, and it's the same sort of conversation we were talking about. This is your mixing engineer. This is this guy. This is this. It's the whole Buppy circle, right? And then you get someone else, and if they just want to be like, get money, all they see is just like this already circle that's working, it's cohesive, and it's fine. So they can't really throw anything in. But if you're a friend, and then you become a part
I think
of
it
that
also
circle.
goes both ways too. Like, a lot of artists just see an A&R as this guy who's like going to give you bags,
Yeah.
and
They're
like,
just gonna fix
they're
my
human
career.
fucking beings, dude. And like,
Totally.
a lot of them don't have any basis. I mean, some of them are like, okay, this kid's popping on TikTok, let me sign it. And their boss emails them, they email their boss a spreadsheet. Boss like, yeah, you're good, bro. Go after it.
Confirmed, yeah.
But some of them, and a lot of them, just really care about what you're fucking doing, and they're really hyped about the music, whether or not they even ever pursue a conversation with you again. Like, they really loved a song, you know. In that moment, they're like, "This rocks. I'm gonna reach out," you know. So yeah, I think people go in and are like, like, what's the numbers? It's like, well, that's gonna be a shitty relationship.
Yeah.
From the get,
Yeah, if they start from that point, it's only gonna be downhill.
Yeah.
So Buppy's advice is to be a decent fucking human being.
That's my label piece.
And I think that's great, and I think that's also kind of a great moment to end on. We're gonna start winding down here. Buppy, we always like to say this. We have this camera in the middle. You've got this camera right in front of you. What would you like to promote? Where can people find
man.
you? What would you like to say? Any final words?
First of all, thank you guys for having me.
Of course, man.
It's been
Thank you
great.
for coming.
Sick out
to the
here.
salsa, bro.
Yeah, I did recipes of the salsa, but for real, like, you guys and
If
people.
someone finds it, send us a photo. Like,
True. Altadena salsa on the loose. But people like this in LA doing stuff like this, is big. And there's a lot of this in New York, and there's only very few of this in LA. So it's cool you guys are doing it.
Yeah, brother.
As far as what I'm doing, I am putting out an EP, and I have one more single coming out in September. EP is going to be like first week October. I'm going to try to drop another thing in December, but they don't know about that yet. Names and Places is the EP name. The next single is Kira. I hope you enjoy both. Kira is one of my favorite records. I've been playing it live for a while. It's finally out, and I'm glad we finally recorded it, because before it was just a jam that we'd play at rehearsal and play live. And yeah, I'm Buppy Father on all platforms pretty much. Yeah, Buppy on Spotify, man. Just hanging out. You'll probably see me on TikTok sometime. And if I play a show near you, come through. I'm in Salt Lake on September 1st. I'm in LA, I think, on September 8th. Be there. Lots of love. Signing out. Thank you.
He just did the outro. We don't need to do anything else.
Boom, pow.
If only the mic wasn't on the stand, you could drop
just
it.
drop it. Let's walk
Fuck this mic, dude.
Micah, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Shoelace Music, spelled SHOOLACE.
Shoelace.
True. And I hope you know how to spell music. That's on
That'd be
you.
worrying.
Music. And Finlay, where can they find you and Roseflower Records?
You can find me on Instagram at Finlay did it, because who did it?
Finlay did it.
That's damn right.
He did it.
Stroof.
I got the guest. You're the first guest to do that. Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
You can find Roseflower Records at Roseflower Records on Instagram and TikTok, at Roseflower Records on... I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter. I refuse to call it...
So
Yeah.
fuck off, dude. It's so stupid, bro.
You can find us
On Threads.
on Threads at Roseflower Records. That's a new one. I keep forgetting that one. I didn't do that one yesterday.
I don't know Threads, bro.
And you can find us at www.roseflowerrecords.com. You can email myself and Micah at our names at roseflowerrecords.com if you want to send us music. Just say hi.
At their names.
At our
Dude, I
names.
love the
That's right.
ad libs you're doing.
We got a new echo in. I didn't know we had an echo in here.
It's
Like,
so
that's
funny, bro.
crazy. Buppy, again, thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see
ASMR,
you.
you're getting way too close, bro.
We'll see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you
Peace.
so much.